Hi guys, it's Erin McGuire here, owner of Pure Light Wellness. Still in Santorini, Greece, filming these videos for you. These videos that I've been filming here are all about really creating a life that you love and taking some steps towards doing that and getting out of this, life of mediocrity, so to speak, or, going from ordinary to extraordinary, as I like to say. Like, why not live an extraordinary life? We're here on planet Earth in these bodies, having these experiences. Why not take it to the next level? And that's what I'm all about. Get inspired, have some inspired action to move you forward in your life. And how do we do that, though? Because we get stuck in self-doubt and fear and anxiety and old patterns, right? So how do we do that? Well, I wanted to give you guys a quote that I just read. We suffer more in imagination than in reality. And I apologize because I don't know who said that. We suffer more in imagination than in reality. What does that mean? It means that you create stories in your mind about things that you think could happen, and you can make those things so real. We can make a story so real in our head that it actually becomes true for us. I've seen this time and time again with people in my life, growing up with them. And I'll be like, do you remember when this happened? Or when you did this or whatever? They have no recollection because in their mind that never happened, or in their mind they took the right course of action or whatever. Or you can have two people with two completely different stories that saw the same exact incidents, but their stories are completely different. Because it's all about how our minds process the information. It's all about how we live in our imagination, And I find this to be true with fear. So, for instance, getting on an airplane. I've never really been scared of flying. I do a lot of it. But right before I was about to leave for this trip, actually, a friend of mine was like, stay alive, or, don't get in a plane crash. And I was just like, why did you say that to me? He was just joking, but when I got on the plane, I thought of that, and then I started thinking, well, what if I got in a plane crash? Like, what if the plane, we were now up, it was as we were ascending, we were now up in the air. I was like, well, what if the plane went down? And I was just kind of trying to think, how would I act in my head? And I started to feel myself kind of create a story around that. And so then I quickly changed my train of thought to something else more positive. But I think this is what cripples us, is that we take one thing and we can blow it so far out of proportion and put so much energy towards it that it actually creates the fear within us and the suffering, right? We suffer more in imagination than in reality. In reality, I was flying. We were ascending, we were flying, and I made it, we landed, all was well. But in my mind, I was seeing us going down in flames, which is absolutely terrible. And it's surprising that I was able to not have anxiety on that flight. But I knew what I was doing. So I quickly switched my brain into, this is safe, we've done this before, it's okay. The pilot's got this. Said a little prayer, and I was okay. So I think you can see in your life where you do this, where you create a situation. Same thing happens with, when I go to create a program, or when I'm writing my book that you guys have been hearing about for a long time. All the fears that would come up around that. Like, people might judge me, they might judge my story, they might not like it, nobody's going to read it. I could really get stuck in that and stay in that place in my imagination and never create the things that I've created thus far. Same thing when I did my first retreat in Costa Rica, and people had life-changing experiences there. But the same fears came up. Well, nobody's going to come. What if they don't have any, experience there? What if people fight? What if somebody gets hurt? There's 1,000 reasons for me not to do the things that I've done in my life that I've been wanting to do for a really long time, which is create yoga retreats, which is create group programs, which is to write my first book. There's a million reasons that always come up. that are fear-based and that are in my imagination. Now, technically, could some of these things happen? Sure. But to let those things stop me from creating what I want to create is not reality because it hasn't happened yet. I have to at least take a risk, right? We've got to start taking risks in life in order to achieve anything. There's always going to be some risk. You've always got to at least attempt it in order to see what happens. So again, the quote, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. So what stories are you creating in your mind, and how can you stop? There's a great tool I like to use. It's just tapping. So when I feel myself kind of going into a fear thought, I start to tap at my heart or tap at my third eye. And this just brings me kind of back in my body, because when we're in our head, we're often, out in la la land, and we're not grounded in our body. We're just overanalyzing, overthinking. So I just tap, take a deep breath, and say some affirmations, like all is well in my world. I know this is what I'm meant to create right now. This is going to come through. People are going to enjoy this process or whatever it is that I'm doing that's causing me fear. I'm going to be safe on this flight. And you might have to repeat that 20 times. But tap, get yourself back in your body. If you can't tap because you're in a public place and that would look weird, you can always just rub your thumb over your first two fingers and just feel that feeling. Or if you're tapping, feel where you're tapping, feel that experience, because it's about getting you back in your body, getting you present, getting you out of your head and back down here. Notice when I say in your body, I'm pointing here, because when we're in our head, we're not connected to our heart, and in our head is where we create all the problems, right? The problems come from our head. When we're in our heart, when we're in kind of that brainwave state of alpha, or in our heart-centered place, problems don't exist. Things just, it's going to work out. I know it's going to work out. This is going to happen. These people are going to do this thing. But you let yourself get in the head, and all of a sudden there's 20 obstacles towards it. So bring yourself back into your body, tap, take a deep breath, and then affirm the affirmations that you want. See yourself creating the thing. See it working out smoothly. See people coming to the event. See the plane landing. See yourself happy about where you're going. So there's using visualization, there's using the mind, but it's pulling the mind away from what's wrong and going towards what's right. Away from what's wrong and going towards what's right. Okay? So give this a try. Remember the quote, we're suffering in our imagination, not in reality. Stop getting stuck in these negative things by getting yourself back in your body. Maybe it's a snap. Maybe you got to shake it out. Again, some of these things we can't do in public, so I try to find things you can do like this. You could easily put your hand under the desk or alongside your body. Nobody even has to know. Or you can snap to bring yourself back. Tapping really works. All right, so give this a try. Let me know how it goes for you. And stop suffering in your imagination. I know it takes a little bit of work. You got to do something to get yourself out of the negative state. But once you do it, and you keep repeating it, you start to create new neural pathways in your brain that are going to wire towards moving away from what's wrong towards what's right. It's going to get easier every time you do it. Just make it part of your practice. All right, let me know how it goes. Leave a comment below. Subscribe to the channel to always get the latest videos. And there's a link below if you want to sign up for my newsletter where I send only to you guys tools and tips that I don't send to anybody else. I don't give out to anybody else either. So make sure you sign up for that. I hope you're having a great day and come back and watch again. Thanks so much.